Imagine this. You are standing on a fog-covered hill in northern Britain, almost 2,000 years ago. Around you are the sounds of clanking armor, Roman standards glinting faintly in the morning light. Nearly 5,000 soldiers, disciplined, battle-hardened men of the empire, march forward into the unknown. They are the famous Ninth Legion, the pride of Rome. And then, silence. They never return. What happened to an entire legion of Rome's finest soldiers? How could the mightiest empire on earth lose track of thousands of men, simply erased from history? The mystery of the Ninth Legion has baffled historians for centuries. Was it annihilated in battle, quietly reassigned and forgotten? Or is there a darker truth one Rome itself tried to bury? To understand the enigma, we must first know who the Ninth Legion really was. The Legio IX Hispana. The Ninth Spanish Legion had a long and proud history. Formed in the time of Julius Caesar, they fought in Gaul and Spain, leaving behind a reputation for loyalty and toughness. They were among the legions that marched with Caesar during his campaigns, cementing their place in Roman legend. By the 1st century AD, they were stationed in Britain, guarding the wild northern frontier. But Britain was no ordinary province. To the Romans, it was the edge of the known world, a land of mist, forests, and fierce tribes who fought Rome with every breath. The most feared among them were the Caledonians, the ancestors of today's Scots, renowned for their savage resistance. It's here, in this unforgiving land, that the Ninth Legion's trail begins to blur. The last solid record of the Legion appears in the early 2nd century. Around the year 108 AD, an inscription in York, the Legion's fortress city, praises the Ninth for construction work. After that, the sources fall strangely silent. The Legion, once a backbone of Roman Britain, vanishes from the records. By 165 AD, it is gone completely from official lists of Rome's military units. How does an entire legion disappear? The most famous theory is that the Ninth met its doom in Britain. According to this version, sometime between 108 and 120 AD, the legion was ordered north to quell a rebellion. Perhaps 5,000 men marched into Caledonia, deep into enemy territory, but they never marched out. Archaeological evidence of forts abandoned or destroyed in this period hints at violent conflict. Could the legion have been ambushed and wiped out in a catastrophic defeat? It's a chilling thought. The disciplined war machine of Rome, ground down and destroyed by tribal warriors in the misty highlands. If true, it would have been one of Rome's worst defeats since the disaster at Teutoburg Forest a century earlier, when 3 legions were annihilated in Germany. Yet, there's a problem. If the Ninth had been destroyed in Britain, why is there no record? Roman writers never shied away from describing military disasters. The loss of Teutoburg was written about in horror for decades. So why the silence about the Ninth? Did Rome deliberately erase the shame from history, or is there another explanation? Some scholars argue the Ninth wasn't destroyed in Britain at all, but instead transferred elsewhere. Inscriptions found in Nijmegen, in the Netherlands, suggest the Ninth may have been stationed there after 120 AD. If so, their disappearance might not be tied to Britain at all. Instead, they could have been redeployed to fight in the east. Rome's eastern frontier was a cauldron of conflict with the Parthian Empire, a rival superpower. Could the Ninth have been sent to Armenia or Judea, only to be destroyed in some forgotten campaign? This theory is supported by later inscriptions that reference other legions replacing the Ninth in Britain. Perhaps Rome quietly reassigned them, and their final fate lies not in the mists of Scotland, but in the deserts of the Middle East. But the mystery deepens. By the mid-2nd century, the Ninth is gone from all records, military roles, and honors. No historian of the time explains why. This silence is strange, almost deliberate. Some suggest the Ninth was not destroyed in a single battle, but rather slowly dissolved. Units could be broken up, soldiers reassigned, legions merged. Over time, the name itself may have simply faded from memory. But for an entire legion with such a proud history, this seems unlikely. So, what really happened? Let's weigh the possibilities. If the Ninth perished in Britain, it explains the absence of records. Rome may have tried to cover up a humiliating defeat. After all, Hadrian himself ordered the building of Hadrian's Wall around 122 AD. Soon after the Ninth's last trace. Could the wall have been a direct response to the legion's destruction, a recognition that northern Britain could not be held by force? On the other hand, the evidence from Nijmegen complicates things. A legion, possibly the Ninth, was stationed there after 120 AD. If true, then the destruction in Britain cannot be the answer. Instead, the legion may have met its end in the east, swallowed up in the endless wars with Parthia, or during the Jewish revolts that ravaged Rome's armies. Then there's a third, more unsettling possibility, that the Ninth was deliberately erased from history. Rome had a practice called damnatio memoria, the condemnation of memory, where names, inscriptions, and even statues were destroyed to wipe out a person's existence. Could an entire legion have suffered this fate? Perhaps the Ninth rebelled, mutinied, or disgraced itself in some unforgivable way. Rather than celebrate their history, Rome may have chosen to pretend they never existed. This idea might sound extreme, but it aligns with Rome's obsession with honor and order. For a legion to vanish so completely suggests something beyond a simple defeat. Today, the mystery of the ninth remains unsolved. Archaeologists continue to search for evidence: mass graves in Scotland, inscriptions in the East, coins or relics that might confirm their final march. But so far, the silence of history remains unbroken. What makes the disappearance of the Ninth Legion so haunting is not just that they vanished, but that we may never know why. Were they slaughtered in a forgotten battle, leaving their bones to rest beneath the Scottish heather? Were they crushed in the deserts of the East, their memory erased by shifting sands? Or did Rome itself decide that the ninth was better forgotten, their name stricken from the empire's proud record? Nearly 2,000 years later, the fate of the ninth still grips our imagination. Novels, films, and legends have all tried to answer the question. But the truth may forever lie buried in the fog of time. The story of the ninth is more than just a mystery. It is a reminder of how fragile even the greatest empires can be. Rome, at the height of its power, lost an entire army. And history, despite its vast records, allowed it to slip into silence. Perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. Not just what happened to the ninth, but why we will likely never know. And as we look at our own world, it forces us to wonder. If the mightiest army of the mightiest empire could simply vanish, what else has been lost, hidden, or erased in the shadows of history? If you enjoyed this journey through Mystery Vault, make sure to subscribe and join us for more mysteries of history and the world around us.